All right, with us right now, we've got Rob Temple and Kennedy, no last name needed. They are the founders of Response Suite. Gentlemen, I'm actually really excited to have you on because you provide a solution for a subject that I'm really, really passionate about, and that is being able to survey your audience, turn that into leads, turn that into reviews, turn that into social proof for future audiences to see. And so, gosh, I feel like all I really want to do is just have you guys give me a demo for exactly how Response Suite works, but we'll do that another time. Sure. Can you start off by talking about why you created this and where you kind of came from to create it?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, Rob and I have been friends for about 18 years now, and we actually started off life in the entertainment world. So, and we both still do that. That's why Rob is currently sitting in his Lamborghini. It's not like I've got no idea what kind of piece of crap car that is, but it's he's in it. But I'm kidding. But that's why Rob's on the road right now, is because he's on the road with his show. He's a comedy hypnotist, so he goes on stage and makes people do funny things.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I know. And whereas what I do is I'm what you guys in the States call a mentalist. So basically, our job is we're obsessed with how people think and how people make decisions, and our process of buying stuff has obviously come into that along the way. About 18, 19 years ago, we became friends, and we independently ended up starting our own information publishing businesses. That was selling our expertise and being coaches to other people who want to do similar things. So that was kind of a nice sideline, which helped us kill the time waiting between gigs. So sitting in the car in service stations or in hotels waiting to go on stage, whatever it might be. And then one day Rob called me up and said, dude, have you ever tried to use surveys in a way you can actually do something with them? And I said, what do you mean? I want to look at a pie chart to tell me like only 2% of the people hate me and everybody else thinks I'm wonderful. So the problem with that is, of course, that, and Rob was bang on when he told me this. He said the problem with that is I can't find the 2 people who think I'm terrible and go and apologize or anything with them. And I certainly can't go to the 98% of the people who think I'm wonderful and offer them more of my great services, because I don't know which of those is which, because I can't connect my survey platform to my customer relationship management tool or my email marketing platform, because that's not possible, or at least it's very tricky to do without duct taping it together where things fall through the cracks. So we went on a little hunt to find out how you might be able to do that. And it turns out that's not a great solution for doing that. So we did what any entrepreneurs would do, and that is think, let's start a software company. That's how it began.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right.
It's a weird one.
So how do you create this? So who's the programmer?
Neither of us. We're actually both technically as unsavvy as it gets, pretty much. So we actually decided that we would have to just sort of use the entrepreneurial problem-solving bit of our brains that we all have, and then just say, okay, great. Well, in that case, how do we solve it? We need to find a developer. So we hired a developer. We looked originally at outsourcing it overseas, and just found out we just felt like we wouldn't have enough control. We wouldn't know what we're doing. So it's actually all built in-house in the office where Kennedy is there, up in the northeast of England.
Yes, I'm currently staring at the developer. I've got my whip under the desk here just in case he slacks off.
All right. So what does Response Suite do then?
All right, Rob, do you want to take it?
Yeah, so in short, imagine being able to build surveys. And when I say build a survey without any technical knowledge whatsoever, it's kind of like using a tool like Canva or anything else that's drag and drop, where you say, well, I want one of these and I want to put it there, and I want one of these and I want to put it there. You'd probably use your mouse, not the finger, but you get the idea. One of those and I want to put it there. And then once you've put everything together, you can then integrate that survey with whatever marketing tools you already use. So like if you've got an email marketing platform, it plugs straight into there. If you use Facebook ads, it plugs straight into there. If you use Google Analytics, it plugs straight into there. If you use membership platforms, we're actually integrating with those right now. So if you deliver like courses and content through online membership portals, it'll plug into those. It plugs into whatever marketing tools you currently use, so that then you can really easily, again, point and click, configure things to happen. So if somebody says my service or my product was a 7 out of 10, then I want to make sure that I ask them a question to do with what else they might want help with. And once I know what else they want help with, or now I can kickstart an email sequence automatically inside my email marketing platform, or I can make sure that they see adverts on Facebook or on Google that are specifically about those things. We kind of want to centralize your marketing so that somebody fills out a survey once and then instantly everything else they ever see from you is completely relevant. So every time they see an advert, it speaks directly to them. And every time they get an email from you, it speaks directly to them. Because now you can segment everything that you do. So if you've got an ad that specifically only speaks to men or women, you can just show it to men or women. If you just run an ad that only speaks to people who are beginning their journey in your niche, you can just show the adverts to them. And so that means that everything you run is completely relevant. Because we live in a busy world right now where the sort of barrier to entry to get started and build a business is lower than it's ever been. Yeah. Anyone can throw a website now and anybody can advertise right now, which means that advertising is becoming more expensive. It's becoming more crowded. It's more difficult to stand out. The only way that you can then punch through all of that noise is by making sure that every time somebody sees your advert, it's like one of our friends, Natalie, is the co-founder of bossbabe.com, an enormous online brand and website. And she said that the best, I'm going to paraphrase, but the best type of marketing is the marketing where it feels like you're in the person's brain. And that's really what we want to be able to create with this, so that every time somebody engages with anything you've ever done, it's literally like you can read their mind, like you're right there in their brain.
And what's really interesting is it's in a world where we know artificial intelligence and computer learning is around, and it's all learning stuff about us. Imagine being able to do all of that stuff, but without the creepy parts of it. So it's not they're not happy to admit out loud. It's right. All using things that they're happy to say out loud by clicking on options. Hey, I'm really struggling with this part of my business or my life, or I'm at this phase of my life or my business, or this is my concern right now. It's stuff they've openly shared with you. Right. Not sort of scary, artificial AI, weird stuff that's going to freak people out.
It's kind of the opposite of what we hear about the big online platforms where, you know, they're tracking every house you've ever been to and every cafe you've ever spent money in. Like, it's like Kennedy said, it's literally we ask them questions and then use that in order to leverage it and sell them more stuff.
For sure. Okay, so let's talk about specifically, and I can tell you as a consumer expert, so I've been studying and leading consumer behavior for 12 years. And one thing that I'm just really, really big on is don't believe any marketing. I mean, basically, you have to do your own due diligence. And right. Part of that is trying to find reviews and decipher them and read through them. How important is it to show social proof and reviews and like what, you know, yeah, you might like our little dog and pony show here, but really what you want to know is, does it work? Well, let me introduce you to some of the people who are using our platform and you can hear it directly from them. All right. Right. In your words, explain why that is so critical today.
We live in a world where everything on the internet is a lie until we can prove otherwise. Yeah, even right. If somebody else tells us that thing, we're like, yeah, but where did you hear about it? And they go, oh, we saw it on this platform. And we're like, yeah, so now I instantly don't trust it because you didn't see it with your own two eyes. And the thing is, we live in a world now where there are so many conspiracies and we feel like we're all being sort of controlled and brainwashed by all of these different things. More than ever, we have all been ripped off, scammed, missold to, oversold to, in a world of what I would call over-commercialization. So these days, if you're not collecting feedback and using the emotion of feedback, and that's the big thing we have to tap into here, is not just the fact that somebody's gone, yeah, it's great, because yeah, it's great is a pretty bloody awful testimonial. It's pretty nasty. Whereas if somebody tells you an emotional story, so testimonials are useful for a number of reasons. The first one is because it overcomes that objection of, yeah, I don't believe everything on the internet's a lie. Secondly, is if they're told in a story format, which tells us what their objection was, what they were afraid of, what they're trying to achieve, and the outcome it got them, then as we all know, our brains love stories. Yeah. It gets our subconscious brains excited. It goes back into our childlike brain and it really penetrates on a much deeper level, allowing people to really start seeing and feeling that solution feels right. It feels safe because that's what stories do for us.
Right. I think, you know, from our perspective, you know, it's, you know, how valuable testimonials are, you know, what I believe is most people come and they want to find someone, will it work for me? And
Sure.
so then what they do is they scan through the stories and the testimonials, the reviews, and they try to find somebody who's like them or is in their situation. So if I'm looking for a weight loss solution, I want someone that is at, my height, size, and gender. And if it worked for them, well, it could probably work for me then.
So here's a really easy way of doing that. Imagine, this sounds like, I'm sorry, this is going to sound like a direct pitch for response. I don't mean it that way, but here's a simple way of looking at it. Other platforms are available. Obviously, they're not as good, but hey, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But of course, imagine this. If that is the case, if we want to find someone who is as close to us as possible, which we do, we all want to know, like you said, Josh, we want to know, will it work for me? Imagine before you show them the sales material, you ask them some simple questions. So you might be thinking about weight loss. Will it work for me with my gender, with my body type, and at my age? They're three of the things that we might, among other things you might want to ask. So imagine instead of sending them to the generic sales page with testimonials from people, some of them are relevant to us and some of them are not, because some of them might be female, some of them might be male, some of them might be older, some might be younger, etc., etc. Imagine instead the first thing that pops up is, tell us a bit about you. Well, if we know anything, we're all quite self-interested as humans. If those quizzes on social media tell us anything, then that's going to be the case, right? So we now know that, so the person comes in and they say, I'm male, I'm 35 years old, and I live in the northeast of England, and I am trying to lose a bit of weight because I've got a busy life. When I hit submit, what you can do is take people to the sales page, which tells me exactly how somebody else in my particular situation has used that fitness or weight loss or health product to overcome that issue. So I'll be going straight to a page which said, well, look, Kennedy, there's this guy called Dan. He was a really busy entrepreneur. He really put some weight on because he's just too busy to eat healthily. He's 35 years old. And this was his story and how he used our weight loss program to achieve this thing. I'm like, Dan did this, and Dan's just like me. So all my criteria, now I believe that this thing is going to work for me. While simultaneously, there's, Grace, who works for us in the office here. Grace went to the same website at the same time. She clicked, I'm female, she's younger than me, so she would tick the age box for her, and she would say that she really wants to, run a marathon or something like that. So she goes to the next, she hits submit, and she goes to a different page, and it says, hey, here's Sarah. Sarah wanted to run a marathon, and Sarah was this age, and this is how she used our product to do that. And now at the same time as I'm reading the page, Grace is reading what's apparently the same website, but she's getting a very different experience, finding the answer to her questions and able to identify herself and characteristics of herself in that material. And that's what we expect now as consumers, don't we?
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, I could talk with you for at least another 20 minutes or so, maybe 5. But we're over time, and I just thank you so much. So Rob Temple and Kennedy, you guys are the founders of Response Suite on the web at responsesuite.com. Also, you guys got yourself a podcast, and that is the what's the podcast?
So it's called the Email Marketing Show, and it's all about how to do email marketing in a modern world. When everybody else talks about open rates and click-through rates and conversion rates falling through the floor, we're talking about, okay, let's change this up a bit. Email marketing is still, across the world, considered the most powerful medium for advertising. Oh, yeah. It's still considered the highest return on investment medium for advertising compared to all of the stuff that everyone else talks about, like bots and Facebook and all the rest of it. So we're talking every week about email marketing, but in a modern world.
Yep. Love it. Love it. All right, Rob, Kennedy, thank you so much. Again, responsesuite.com. And again, in your podcast player, you can look for the Email Marketing Show. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Josh, man.
Thanks for having us.